I think the digital nomads will bring a change with them.
So digital nomads are some of the most amazing, cool, exciting people that I've come across with, and literally the way I've approached and understand work has been completely transformed.
2013, I was in Sihanoukville by the beach after reading some blog articles from Digital Nomads promoting like the movement, always with pictures on the beach with cocktail, and like it's always like that when you Google for Digital Nomads, always at the beach or by the pool with a cocktail or like working like this with no desk and everything.
The way that people work is changing, and it's a good thing. It's fun because you get to travel, you get to meet people, and I think big companies starting to let people out of cubicle and then work like anywhere.
I am not completely sure. I think it's a very broad category. I think you could loosely define it as people that don't live in one place and they move around and they work and it's enabled by digital technology.
I am Feli and I'm from Germany, and I'm one of the founders of DNX. But actually we do a lot of other projects, so from website building, about blogging, about Amazon selling. So we have different business and income streams, but DNX is one project was really fun for us and really fulfilling because people just love it. You have three groups. On the one hand, you have the freelancers that are working for clients, and they mostly work time against money still, but they can work from everywhere. Then you have those remote workers. They are actually working for one specific company, but they are spread in teams around the world, like Buffer, for example, from the US. So you have one fixed contract with a fixed salary, but still the possibility to work from everywhere. Mostly they do team meetings somewhere in Portugal, or it depends. And then you have the entrepreneurs who really do own projects and maybe sell own products, sell digital products, do consulting, whatever. There are so many different business models.
My name's Dave Cook. I'm an anthropologist. I'm based in the UK and I'm conducting research into digital nomads and nomads in general. One of the things that I'm sure people always ask themselves when they're going to become a digital nomad is, am I going to work with clients or with people in the local community, or am I going to have clients back home? I think, I have a hunch. I don't have the complete answer, but I think there must be a link between the freelance culture, which has arisen in the last 20 years, which is mainly being facilitated by being able to work at home on your computer. 20 years ago, people couldn't even print at home. Now, people can communicate, they can have teleconferences, so that's a big influence. So people can move around and be freelance. And digital technology facilitates that also.
My name is Amrit Chernpan. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Hubba. We're the first co-working space here in Bangkok, Thailand. And now we are in 7, soon to be in 10 locations by the end of 2016. Our digital nomad community teaches me every day that work isn't about being stuck to one place, being stuck to one company, and just being stuck to doing something you don't love. Digital nomads in our space are showing that you can be happy in Bangkok one day and happy in Bali the other. They're showing us that you can be working on your own projects and then having coffee and getting another project, investing in another friend's project, advising another friend's project, getting mentored by one of the other members.
My name is in Thai, but everybody call me M. It's just easier to pronounce. I'm the co-founder of Space. I think digital nomad trend is coming. I think the group is bigger like every year. I think people are starting to embrace this lifestyle, work and travel. It's good. They do it like many years, and most of the people that doing nomad life, they start quite young. So I think they have a long time to live on this life before they settle down. I know for the fact that for some have a family already, but they still live on the nomad life. They have the child, they travel the world, they work, but they bring their child with them.
Digital nomad is definitely not just a trend. It is really the future of work. I've started as a guy who wanted to build a co-working space, build a startup. What I realized is the more I work out of my space, the more independent I can now work in other people's co-working spaces, in coffee shops, working out of airports, meeting random strangers and actually exploring collaboration. The lifestyle is expected by 2035 to be accessible by over 1 billion people, and literally anybody and almost everybody can be a digital nomad. It really is about thinking of work as a means of living and a means of personal and professional growth.
My name is Ozzy. I'm originally from Finland, 37 years old, and I've been living past 9 years here in Chiang Mai, running Igloo. I don't consider myself much of a nomad because I've been past 10 years in Thailand, past 9 years in Chiang Mai, and I haven't really left. When I first moved here, Chiang Mai, 9 years ago, there was probably about 20 of us who would call themselves a digital nomads, and I believe the number now is somewhere between 5,000 to 8,000, and it is the digital nomad Mecca or capital of the world. It's the #1 destination for digital nomads. Countries and cities will eventually see the opportunity there, and maybe that will bring changes into legislations, changes into infrastructure, because some place with currently doesn't have a proper internet, but with a good fiber optic line could also become a new digital nomad a city.
My name is Vichaya Sirisantana. I'm the co-founder of Unspace. Now, I think that most people would live the digital nomad's life for a few years because, this is just my opinion. You travel for a while, then and you get older. I think people need to settle down. But there will be some few people who just like traveling around the world, but forever. But I don't think not all digital nomads would do that.
What is wrong with some Western concepts of work to make people want to blur the boundaries between workplace and play and leisure? I think that there is a need to want to mix that up and to blur the boundaries. But I think there are probably other questions that are below that need answering still.
I'm Markus, originally from Germany, and I'm the founder of DNX. And this is a project that brings digital nomads together from all over the world. For me, it was a pain working 9 to 5 in an environment which I was not embracing and enjoying anymore, and working for someone else's dreams and having a very not unhealthy lifestyle but unstable lifestyle, like working a lot from Monday to Friday, partying a lot at the weekends, and then going down into work. And at the end I felt rushed and stressed, and I didn't feel happy in my job and in my life, and so I decided to quit my job and to become self-employed.
So me personally, I love to travel all my life. In my early 20s, I already traveled a lot, and even when I was employed for some years, for 7 years actually, I tried to travel as much as I could. And at one point, I was like, it gives me so much. I just want to do it more. And it was not like that I didn't want to work, but I want to combine it more. My passions like kite surfing and working. And yeah, I was working already online for different online startups, so I knew I could do it from everywhere, so it was the best decision to turn into this lifestyle.
Becoming a digital nomad was not planned on purpose by any way, but we went on a longer trip with my girlfriend to Asia, and then things came together. I took my first clients while being on the road, and they paid the bill from Germany, and we were in Asia, and I said, wow, what's this? This is cool. Can we do it? Can we go on with this, please? And then I started to connect with other digital nomads, and things happened.
Hola, me llamo Rafael, Tengo 23 años, soy de Bélgica y trabajo en el marketing digital en la industria de los viajes. When I was 18 years old, I took my first gap year. I went to Australia. And over there, I took language classes for 2 months, but after I went on working and traveling like around the country. And it was like an incredible experience to me. It was just like amazing. It was just like a year full of incredible moments, and I realized I loved meeting people, seeing beautiful nature, learning languages. It was just such an incredible time. And then like after that year, I went to university for 3 years, and I felt that after university, I still wanted to have that travel in my life because it'd been such a great time, right? I really wanted to have that travel back again in my life, but at the same time, I had a really, I had another objective, which was to develop professionally, you know, in terms of and work in the areas of marketing and communications.
When I was much younger, I backpacked, and I've never been as happy in my life as I was when I was a backpacker. And over the years, I've gone back to places. There's a place I go to in Koh Phangan in Thailand, where there are a lot of people passing through. They're moving around. I guess you could call them nomads, and they're managing to fund a lifestyle whilst not staying in the same place. So they were my inspiration, and I've got quite a few people in my personal network.
I feel like I had these two objectives that were really at the opposite, whereas like if I were to just try to develop professionally, like that couldn't work with the travels, and if I was doing the travels, like, I couldn't develop professionally. And I started hearing about the concept of digital nomads, where actually like it is in between, right? So you can actually work and travel to some extent at the same time. So that's the reason why I just became one to some extent. It's because just it was, for me, it seemed like it was the ticket.
So it's a huge change, and I think it's a change that is just it's a kind of a movement that is going to grow bigger and bigger all the time. And it's enabled by, a lot of it is enabled by internet, cheap traveling, and it's a very interesting times ahead. And now with also in this area, with ASEAN happening, hopefully a one visa for all countries and so on, so things are just going to make it much more easier, and much more of those digital nomads and much more of that remote work is going to happen in this area, because it's a very nice place to live, a very easy place to live.
The whole concept of a digital nomad and being able to work on the road wouldn't be possible without the internet, I would say, and increasingly mobile technology. So it's not just about laptops, you know, it's about phones as well. And yeah, that's been an enabler. I think the need to want to move around and travel predates the digital revolution, as you might want to call it. I think the air travel, which happened much earlier, is very, very important. But air travel enabled people to travel to go to India in the 1960s and had a big influence on counterculture.
You are in the most beautiful places in the world, but there you have to be productive, you have to be structured, and you have to be professional to work on your projects. So it's all about getting focused and staying focused and getting things done also in the best places of the world. And this is for many people a challenge.
It's not easy. You need to be disciplined, you need to have a strong presence of mind. I think you need to be quite strong emotionally, and you need to be open. So it can be quite a lonely thing to do. So if you're not a really good self-starter, you know, if you don't have a very strong emotional base, I think it can be quite difficult.
But right now, I'm in between the freelancer and the entrepreneur, doing the two at the same time. And I would say the main disadvantages for most people seem to be loneliness and difficulty to bond with maybe other colleagues, or just feeling like it kind of sucks to work from home and just be by yourself all day long. But personally, it's not something I feel, because I work in co-working spaces all the time. So I just go to these places, and there's just like Utopicus in Madrid. I go to these places, and I can just I pay to have a desk there for a month or something, or a couple of days, and I just meet a lot of people. So it's like you have colleagues, but they're not quite working with you, like on the same projects. So I feel like the loneliness factor isn't so much of an issue for me.
Disadvantage is maybe to build really meaningful relationships, but it's not really a problem. You can find all those people on the road, and you met them somewhere else again. You meet them somewhere else again, and maybe it might be some problems. A problem for people who just start with this lifestyle, that they are lonely. But after a while, if you get connected in the community, it's really cool.
Something that's hard, and a lot of people talk about this, is the difficulty of having a routine. So for example, I like to do yoga every morning before I start my work, or meditation. But it's not always easy when you just arrive to a new place, and then infrastructure is not necessarily very good. Like you don't necessarily have your yoga mat, or the room is small, or it's like really loud, and it's really hard to concentrate, or you just like have to figure out, where you're gonna have breakfast, where you're gonna buy some food. All this just when you're changing environments a lot, like it's hard to have a routine and to do the things that you planned on doing at first.
For me, the biggest advantage is to have the ultimate freedom on 3 layers. Working from everywhere you want, working on everything you want, and working whenever you want.
Freedom to go to different places whenever you want, and also to structure your own work.
It's the freedom. The time freedom, not necessarily every digital nomad has, but I think, like just being able to say, all right, for the next 2 days, I'm not gonna do any work, and like if your revenues don't get impacted by that you would have like time freedom to some extent, right? Not necessarily everyone has that, but I think having that time freedom, if you're self-employed, generally speaking, even as a freelancer, sometimes you don't necessarily have to check in at the office at 9 a.m. Or even if it's behind a computer, it might necessarily have to be at 9 every morning. You can just decide to make it at 10, 11, or like midnight. As long as the work gets done, like it's cool.
One of the themes that I keep on hearing time and time again is wanting to be more stimulated. In the conference today, people have been talking about expressing a sense of freedom. And then sometimes there are some negative aspects. People are wanting to escape something from the day-to-day banalities of everyday life.
We also see that because of that flexibility, because of that fluidity in living, our digital nomad company are having more freedom, more happiness. And that's why we love to have digital nomads, because they're really happy people.
It's different, so it depends. So most of the time we stay at least 1 month, sometimes 6 weeks or even 2 months. We still travel kind of fast, but we always have a gut feeling when to go on, when we need a new mindset or need to see new things and get to know new people. When we get into a routine in one place, we sometimes feel like moving on. So it's not planned. Sometimes we have some fixed points in our schedule, but it's more like going with the flow a little bit.
Half of the year, 6 months in Europe, and out of these 6 months, be 3 months in my hometown in Brussels, because I love it. I really like it. There's my family there, which is really important for me, and my friends too. And then the rest of the 3 months, I would try to go like elsewhere. Now I was like in Spain for 3 weeks. I was in Paris for a bit as well. I was in Berlin. But I've done a lot of movements, and I aim for staying 2 to 3 months at each place, generally speaking. And generally speaking, 6 months, either in Southeast Asia or in South America. Some people might think it's short, some people might think it's a little bit longer, but I would say 2 to 3 months in each city, I would say, would be ideal.
I've just noticed from speaking to people and hearing their stories, everyone's unique, everyone's different. Some people stay in the same place for months, some people move around constantly. I think one of the themes that's come out today and has come out from the stories that people have been telling me is however good you are at looking after yourself and being emotionally strong and being a self-starter, there's a human need to want to plug into communities and spend time with people. So I think that's a very interesting question, and I think it's impossible to move constantly. Otherwise, it's a little bit like backpacking.
I have not the one favorite space. I like to switch once in a while. So I like to work at home, in a cafe, or in co-working spaces. So yeah, I need different locations to get creative again. So it's very good for me actually to switch.
They're definitely co-working spaces. It really fits my needs because I love meeting new people. I like to, be able to arrive at my workplace and get some work done right away. I don't want to have to just check the internet and then Wi-Fi is not working. All of a sudden I have to go ask, this code, and then I like to have a good infrastructure so I can focus on my work really. And also, yeah, I think as the founder of a startup, I have many questions that are unanswered. And I definitely do not have all the knowledge which I need in order to take the project forward. And I feel like being in co-working spaces is actually a pretty smart move because you end up meeting developers, designers, marketers, entrepreneurs, founders of other startups and stuff. And we're just helping each other. Just by chatting, we're not we're not consulting each other. It's not like we have a set session. We just go for lunch and we talk about whatever business stuff or our lives. And it's just generally it's super useful. Just give me new ideas, just of new things to work on, finding new solutions. And generally speaking, just talking about things out loud is just very beneficial.
Yeah, we love to change places, but generally I love most to work in our Airbnb flats or apartments where we get long-tail deals mostly. But once in a while we also love to connect with other nomads, going into co-working spaces or going into cafes. But I'm the type of person who get distracted very quickly, and if some people working next to me or talking or watching something, I get distracted, and this is why I bought these headphones. They are noise cancelling. This is cool, so I'm in the zone. So I love to change different places.
Co-working spaces are obviously very important, but they're not absolutely necessary. People can go to places that don't have these co-working spaces, as long as they have a decent internet connection. I'm sure that they can get their work done.
The fact that we work remotely, the fact that we're not necessarily in an office, we focus much more on the deliverables and the objectives as opposed to how much time we spend on things, right? So there's no more need just to be at 9 o'clock in the office. It doesn't matter whether you spend, that's what I say to people that work with me. I'm like, listen, I don't care whether you spend half an hour or 5 hours on this task. It just needs to get done. I don't care when it gets done. I don't care where you are in order to get it done. But it's just we need to get it done by this time, and that's it. And so that gives a lot of freedom to some extent to people, which I think is beneficial. Although it might be hard for some people who aren't maybe disciplined. But generally speaking, I think it makes the workplace a more enjoyable place.
For me, it's more important to get the bigger scope and to connect to the people where you are living and to make good, sustainable stuff and use your power you have, earning good money as an entrepreneur and having the freedom as an entrepreneur to start any projects you want to start.
I think, there was always entrepreneurship, but it was always said you have to work hard, 24 hours a day. It's true, entrepreneurship is really hard, but you can still combine it with a cool lifestyle or things you enjoy doing. It must not be too hard, and maybe you even can find something you really love to do. Sometimes it takes a while, or sometimes it also changes. You think you love that one and it's really fulfilling, and after 2 years you're, no, maybe I do something else. But it must not be hard. It can also be really cool combined with the things you love to do and your personal interests, and that's what digital nomads actually are good at, I would say. Yeah.
Obviously, digital technologies have been an enabling factor in allowing the whole concept of a digital nomad to arise. But I think the human needs to travel, have new experiences, break down Western notions of work and the boundaries between work and leisure, perhaps go back to the 1960s, the whole counterculture revolution, student unrest, and obviously air travel allow people to go to places like India and South America.
I think right now many nomads are just happy being a nomad, but this doesn't solve any problems in the world, and we are also using lots of resources, roaming a lot and using planes and flying around. So we as a digital nomad have a big responsibility to think about how to use these resources wisely and how to create and start projects as an entrepreneur, because we are able to start new projects which are making the world a better place and which are green and which are sustainable. And one big part of this this approach is to also connect even deeper with the local community, with the local people, to eat local food, to train with local people in the gym, what I do, to do maybe some charity things, which we did in Salvador, Brazil, and get out of this bubble in which many digital nomads are still living at the moment.
As long as you're getting the work done, whether you're in a big corporation, whether you're starting your own company, you can be a digital nomad anytime, whenever you want. Just pack your bags, head out. It doesn't have to be a co-working space. Just go somewhere. You're already a digital nomad. So I believe that as more and more people experience it, embrace it, see that our other digital nomad friends can actually make a better living than working in a full-time job and actually become more happy, I think more and more of us will open our hearts and our minds to saying that digital nomad is really for me.